Well, I've just been handed a news flash. The National Association of African American Owned Media alleges that Sharpton and other advocates have been bought off. Comcast, wait a minute. What is this? Is the Hollywood Reporter. Comcast Al Sharpton hit with $20 billion racial discrimination lawsuit. Does this say that Sharpton's been canned? Okay. Even though the FCC has not yet ruled on a proposed merger between Comcast and Time Warner Cable, one group has already filed a lawsuit claiming that at least $20 billion in damages from the way the two giants allegedly discriminate against black-owned media. The complaint was filed in California on Friday, comes from the National Association of African American Owned Media, which also filed a similar suit against AT&T and DirecTV in December. This time, the plaintiff is not only targeting both Comcast and the Time Warner on the verge of what would be the largest pay television distributor in the U.S. if they merge, but also various African-American advocacy groups and MSNBC host Al Sharpton for allegedly facilitating discrimination. What the hell how did Sharpton discriminate at MSNBC? Look, does anybody doubt why Sharpton got the gig? You know, does anybody, journalistic talent, Al Sharpton can't read a teleprompter. The journalistic talent, he's not a journalist. If anything, he might come alive and be the real Al if they gave him a megaphone. One of those handheld megaphone things from the old march days, the public march, the protest days. But put him on TV. They bought him off. One of the reasons you hire Sharpton is to get him to not oppose your merger. Shakedown. There's no doubt why they hired Sharpton. But I've had two different people tell me Sharpton has been fired. I can't find it. This is on Mediaite as well as a Hollywood Reporter. All right. The lawsuit goes on to say that Comcast made large cash donations to obtain its support for its acquisition. This is all about the merger with Time Warner. The money includes, see, here you go, right here it is, $3.8 million paid Al Sharpton in a national action. And despite that, the guy still owes the IRS $4 million. So the lawsuit says that Comcast, which owns NBC, paid Al Sharpton $3.8 million, Sharpton and the National Action Network. The money was meant to pay Sharpton to endorse the NBC Universal deal and divert attention away from discrimination. As for Sharpton's MSNBC job, the complaint in the lawsuit says, despite the notoriously low ratings that Sharpton's show generates, Comcast has allowed Sharpton to maintain his hosting position for more than 3 years in exchange for Sharpton's continued public support for... I knew this one. So somebody's filed a lawsuit based on all this. Okay, cool. The National Association of African American Owned Media is making this charge. This is black-on-black lawsuit action here. This is not, you can't say this is racism. You can't say it's discrimination. This is NAAA, the NAAAOM. That's the acronym. That's why why would they firing him, because of the lawsuit? Well, no. Now they're shouting at me that Sharpton's been fired now because paying him off didn't work. They got sued anyway. Doesn't matter. They haven't won the suit yet. Well, it wasn't supposed to prevent the suit. It was supposed to prevent Sharpton opposing the merger. And the Reverend Jackson. Now, he didn't get a gig, but it's the Justice Brothers. You buy one, you buy both. This lawsuit just codifies exactly what, or spells out exactly why the Sharpton job was created, why he was hired. It's payoff. This is how you keep Sharpton from getting his rabble-rousers all up the protest march, protesting the mergers. How you stop that from happening. Anyway, let's take a brief time out. Still searching to see if it is actually true that Sharpton, you can't find it? I can't either. I've looked. Grab line. I got to take the break. Got to take the break. If I don't take the break, I'm going to be really up the creek, so I got to take the break. Okay, I have found it. Sharpton's not going to be fired. He's going to be moved. They're going to end the Monday through Friday Sharpton show and move him to the weekends, if he accepts that move. If he doesn't, then yeah. Sayonara. The source is Atlanta Daily, something in Atlanta backed up by, let's see, the Huffington Puffington Post, or what is it? 2 or 3 places I've seen it now. Here's Scott in Middlesex, North Carolina. Great to have you, sir. Where did you hear about this Sharpton business? That's what you're calling about, it says.
Yes, Rush. Privileged to be on the show. I heard about that this morning. I was listening to Glenn Beck's show and heard that the Al Sharpton show was going to be canceled. And like you said, I believe he's going to get a weekend show, a 1 day a week instead of the 5 that he's normally been on.
It's called The Graveyard.
But my main question is, or what I want to speak about is, when it comes to Al Sharpton, why has no one called him what he really is? He's the most extreme racist in the country, but yet the left and the right, nobody wants to call him that.
Well, no, that's not entirely true. There are people on the right who have. Certain media people. You won't hear elected Republicans talking about him that way, but it's not very many. And I get your point. There have been people who do. The reason for the answer to your question, and there is a good answer to the question, and it's not just of Sharpton. It's why the same answer would apply to the Reverend Jackson or Sheila Jackson or you pick it. And the answer is they have been such a put-upon, abused minority since the founding days of the country that it simply isn't possible for them to exercise racism because they don't have the power to actually implement the racist beliefs and ideas that they have. There's such an aggrieved minority that this is their own answer. This is what leftists have said. Jesse Jackson, everything word out of his mouth is racist. No, they can't be racist. They don't have any power, which, of course, is bogus to say they don't have any power.
Well, that's for sure, because, you look at the access that Mr. Sharpton has with the White House. Actually, that's just unbelievable that someone like that has the access to the president.
No, it's not unbelievable at all. It is totally believable if you know who Obama is. Why would a radical not welcome another radical to the Oval Office? It's not unbelievable at all. What's unbelievable is who's in the Oval Office. What's unbelievable is who's extending the invitation. It's not unbelievable that Sharpton would go there. What would be unbelievable is if we had a Republican president wanting Sharpton up there all day, every day, to give advice. That would be unbelievable. This, Obama calling Reverend Al and Holder up there for advice on what to do about, say, Ferguson, makes all the sense in the world from their perspective. Meeting and surpassing all audience expectations every busy broadcast day. I am Rush Limbaugh with half my brain tied behind my back just to make it fair. All right, now, on the Sharpton business, the reason for the confusion is that there's confusion. The Truth Revolt got the whole thing started, and they got it wrong. Here's the bottom line. Sharpton probably is going to lose the daily gig and move to weekends. Joy Reid is also going to lose whatever it is she does there. Now, the Daily Beast, which is a left-wing commie publication also on the internet, they have a headline: after MSNBC axes Frank Sinatra III and Joy Reid's show, is Chris Hayes next? They are speculating that this be real careful here, El Rushbo, be real careful. The person who hosts the 8 p.m. show might also be on the way out of town. And that if that is the case, that the person who's on there at 8 would be replaced with Rachel Maddow. How can you tell the difference? Slap my face, I didn't say that. It's a legitimate question.